I'm completely hopeless at it. I was a really bad actor at school, and I've never been able to master the art of mimicry. But
at the center of this situation is the relationship between Queen Consort Camilla and Prince William. According to reports and palace sources, information shared during private family discussions did not remain protected. These discussions were meant to allow senior members of the family to speak openly about the future of the monarchy. Instead, the palace statement suggests that trust was broken and that private views were used in ways that went against Prince William's stated wishes. Prince William has spent many years preparing for his future role. His focus has been on building a monarchy that is smaller, clearer in purpose, and more open with the public. He believes that long-term survival depends on public trust, careful spending, and a strong sense of duty. These ideas were shared during private meetings with family members, including Camilla, with the understanding that they would stay within those rooms. Reports now claim that this understanding did not hold. Information from those meetings is said to have reached people who opposed William's ideas. Some of this information appeared in the press, often framed in ways that made his plans seem harsh or extreme. Other parts were reportedly shared inside the family in a way that weakened his position and raised doubts about his leadership. One of the most serious points of conflict involved how the family should handle Prince Andrew. William has been clear in private that Andrew's public presence causes lasting harm to the monarchy's image. His view was that clear limits were needed, even if family ties remained in private. Sources claim that Camilla did not fully support this approach and worked quietly to soften its impact. When Andrew appeared at a family event later on, many saw it as a sign that William's authority had been challenged. Financial transparency was another major issue. William has pushed for clearer systems that show how royal funds are used. He believes that openness is no longer optional in modern Britain. Reports suggest that Camilla and others worried this could expose uncomfortable details and preferred a slower, less direct approach. According to sources, this led to delays and changes that weakened William's original proposals. What has caused the deepest damage is not simple disagreement, but the way it was handled. Open debate would have allowed compromise. Instead, William is said to feel that he was supported in person but opposed behind his back. For someone who values loyalty and clear rules, this has been a painful realization. Friends of the prince describe his reaction as calm on the surface, but intense beneath it. William is not known for loud anger. When he feels wronged, he becomes quiet, focused, and determined. Since the palace confirmation, he has continued his public duties without comment. He has attended events, spoken about charities, and maintained a steady public image. Behind closed doors, however, he is said to be taking the situation very seriously. Reports suggest he has begun reviewing who has access to sensitive information and how family discussions are recorded and shared. These steps are being presented as routine improvements, but few inside the palace doubt their true purpose. William is also said to have spoken directly with King Charles. Sources describe the message as respectful but firm. William reportedly made clear that he would not pretend nothing had happened. While he has no interest in public conflict, he also will not accept explanations that downplay the seriousness of the breach. The palace's own wording, he believes, confirms that something went wrong. King Charles is now in an extremely difficult position. As a husband, he wants to protect Camilla. As a king, he must protect the future of the monarchy, which rests with William. Observers say this tension has taken a visible toll on him. The stress of managing this situation has come on top of existing health concerns and the pressure of a still young reign. Within the wider family, reactions have varied. Some members are said to quietly support William, seeing his approach as necessary for the monarchy's future. Others prefer caution, fearing that open conflict will damage public confidence. Many are trying to remain neutral, aware that their long-term roles may depend on their relationship with the future king. Princess Catherine has also played an important role during this time. Reports describe her as deeply upset by what has happened. She is said to see this not just as a political issue, but as a threat to the values she and William want to pass on to their children. For her, trust within the family is not a small matter. It shapes the world Prince George will one day inherit. The effect on daily palace life has been significant. Staff members are unsure how much to say and to whom. Long-standing routines around information sharing are being questioned. Some aides are said to feel anxious about their own positions, unsure which way the balance of power will eventually fall. The palace communications team has faced an enormous challenge. Once the confirmation was released, media interest surged. Stories that had been held back due to lack of official comment were suddenly published. Social media discussion exploded, often without nuance or restraint. Attempts to calm the situation with general statements about unity have had limited success. Different media outlets have taken different angles. Some have urged patience and privacy, arguing that families should be allowed to resolve issues quietly. Others have focused on the need for accountability, suggesting that the monarchy cannot survive without real change. Online debate has been even more divided, with strong opinions on all sides. The situation has also raised questions beyond Britain. In Commonwealth countries where the monarchy's role is already debated, this crisis has been used as an example by those who favor change. Supporters of the monarchy now find themselves defending an institution that appears deeply divided. Looking ahead, the path forward is unclear. For William, the challenge is to protect his future authority without tearing the family apart. He must decide how much trust to extend and under what conditions. He must also continue his public work, knowing that his actions are being watched more closely than ever. For Camilla, the future is equally uncertain. Public opinion, which had slowly warmed to her over the years, has been shaken. Advisors are said to disagree on whether she should speak publicly or remain silent. Any statement risks making the situation worse, yet silence leaves space for others to shape the story. For King Charles, this moment may define his reign. He must decide whether to introduce clearer rules and structures or to rely on time and quiet talks to heal the rift. Each option carries risks. Avoiding the issue could allow resentment to grow. Confronting it directly could deepen the divide. What is clear is that the old approach of hiding problems is no longer working. The palace confirmation itself shows that secrecy has limits in the modern world. Public expectations have changed, and the monarchy must adapt or face growing doubt about its role. This crisis has forced difficult questions into the open. How should power be shared between a reigning monarch and an heir? How should private family loyalty balance with that? Depends on strong support from the reigning monarch. When that support feels uncertain, it creates deep frustration. Charles, on the other hand, feels torn between duty and personal loyalty. Observers say this tension has revived old wounds. The memory of past family conflicts, especially those involving secrecy and divided loyalties, hangs heavily over the present. Many see echoes of history repeating itself, despite hopes that lessons had been learned. Within the extended family, quiet calculations continue. Every member understands that the future monarchy William envisions will be smaller. Roles that once felt secure may disappear. In this context, loyalty takes on new importance. Silence, support, or opposition all carry consequences. Public events have become carefully staged. Smiles are polite, words are neutral, and interactions are brief. Behind the scenes, however, nothing feels resolved. The sense of a temporary ceasefire rather than true peace is hard to ignore. The media remains relentless. Even when no new facts emerge, analysis and speculation fill the space. Each photograph is examined, each gesture is given meaning. This constant pressure makes genuine healing harder as private conversations risk becoming public stories. Internationally, the situation is being closely watched. Other royal families, facing their own challenges, see this as a lesson in what happens when internal disagreements spill into the open. Political leaders in Commonwealth nations are also paying attention, aware that public faith in institutions can be fragile. For many citizens, this crisis has made the monarchy feel more human, but also more flawed. Some feel sympathy for William as a son and future king caught in a painful position. Others feel disappointment that personal conflicts continue to overshadow public service. The palace understands that trust once lost cannot be restored by words alone. Time, consistent behavior, and visible change are the only tools available. Whether those tools will be used effectively remains uncertain. William's long-term thinking sets him apart in this moment. He is not focused on winning an argument, but on shaping a future reign. Every challenge he faces now becomes a lesson. Every resistance strengthens his resolve to lead differently when his time comes. Still, this resolve comes at a cost. Friends say the emotional toll is heavy. William did not seek conflict. He wanted cooperation. Accepting that even close family members can act against his vision has been a painful awakening. Catherine continues to be a steady presence. She encourages balance, reminding him that public duty should not consume private life. Their shared focus on their children has become a source of strength. In a world of titles and expectations, family time offers grounding. As weeks pass, the crisis may shift from headline news to background concern. Yet inside the palace, its effects will linger. Decisions made now will shape not only relationships, but also the structure of the monarchy itself. This moment has shown that silence is no longer enough. The world expects accountability, even from institutions built on tradition. The palace confirmation marked the end of denial. What comes next will define whether this was a breaking point or a beginning. The monarchy stands at a crossroads. One path leads toward reform, openness, and renewed trust. The other leads toward deeper division and fading relevance. The choice is not simple, and the risks are real. For Prince William, the journey ahead will demand patience, strength, and clarity. For the royal family, it will require honesty and change. And for the public, it raises an important question about what kind of monarchy they want to support in the years to come. As this story continues to unfold, one truth remains clear. The confirmation has changed everything. The crown now faces its future under brighter light than ever before, and there is no turning back to the shadows of the past. The deeper impact of this situation is not only about one disagreement or one broken promise. It has exposed how fragile relationships inside the royal family truly are. For years, the public was shown an image of calm order and shared purpose. Behind that image, however, different views, quiet rivalries, and unresolved pain were slowly building. This confirmation has brought all of that into the open. Prince William is now facing a reality he hoped to avoid. He can no longer rely on goodwill alone. He understands that authority must be supported by clear structure. Trust must be earned again, not assumed. This realization is shaping how he approaches every meeting, every discussion, and every plan for the future. Sources say William has become more careful about what he shares and with whom. Information is being limited. Conversations are more formal. While this may protect him, it also changes the emotional tone of family life. What was once personal now feels professional. What was once warm now feels distant. This shift is painful, especially because William spent years trying to move past old hurts. He chose to support Camilla publicly. He encouraged peace for the sake of family unity. He believed that time and shared responsibility would heal old wounds. The current situation has shaken that belief deeply. Camilla's position remains difficult. As queen consort, her role depends heavily on relationships rather than power. When trust weakens, influence fades. Even simple decisions now carry political weight. Every action is interpreted through the lens of betrayal or defense. Some insiders say Camilla feels regret, though it is unclear whether that regret is about the outcome or the actions themselves. Others say she feels unfairly targeted, believing that palace politics are more complex than public narratives allow. Regardless of perspective, the damage is real and cannot be undone easily. King Charles continues to walk a narrow path. His desire for peace conflicts with the need for clarity. By trying to satisfy everyone, he risks satisfying no one. This has led to criticism from both sides, adding to the pressure he already carries as monarch. Many believe this moment could have been avoided if clearer rules existed earlier. For generations, the royal family relied on tradition, personal bonds, and unspoken understandings. In today's world, those tools are no longer enough. The scale of public attention demands stronger systems. The palace staff feels this tension daily. Some worry about being caught in the middle. Others fear that past actions, once harmless, may now be questioned. Loyalty, once quiet, is now something people feel they must prove. This environment has made work more difficult. Decision-making slows when trust is low. Creativity suffers when fear grows. These are challenges any organization would face, but for the monarchy, they carry national and global consequences. Public reaction remains mixed. Many people feel sympathy for William, seeing him as a future leader trying to modernize an old system. Others feel sadness that personal conflict continues to overshadow service. Some question whether the monarchy can truly change, or whether it is trapped by its own history. Younger audiences, in particular, are watching closely. Their support cannot be taken for granted. They expect honesty, fairness, and responsibility. This crisis has become a test of whether the monarchy understands those expectations. William knows that trust with the public is just as important as trust within the family. He is aware that how he handles this moment will shape how people view him as a future king. Calm strength, not anger, is his chosen path. Still, there are moments when the weight feels heavy. Friends say he reflects often on how much of his life has been shaped by duty and loss. The idea that even family relationships must be managed like politics is deeply disappointing to him. Catherine continues to encourage hope. She reminds him that change is slow but possible, that leadership is tested most during difficult times. Her role as partner and protector of family stability has never been more important. Their children remain a guiding force. William often thinks about the example he is setting. He wants Prince George to inherit not only a crown, but a healthier institution, one where honesty matters and loyalty is respected. As time moves forward, small decisions will carry great meaning. Who is invited to which event? Who speaks on which issue? Who stands beside whom? These details will quietly signal the direction the monarchy is taking. Reconciliation is still possible, but it will not come from silence or pretending. It would require honesty, accountability, and changed behavior. Whether all parties are willing to take those steps remains uncertain. What is clear is that this moment cannot be erased. The confirmation has written a new chapter in royal history, one defined by exposed weakness, but also by opportunity for growth. The monarchy has faced crises before and survived by adapting. This crisis demands the same courage, not the courage to hide, but the courage to face reality. Prince William stands at the center of this turning point, not yet king, but already tested as one. How he responds now will echo far beyond palace walls. The crown has endured because it has learned, slowly and painfully, when to change. The question now is whether it will learn again, or whether this betrayal will leave a scar too deep to heal. As events continue to unfold, the world watches. not for drama alone, but for answers. Answers about trust, leadership, and the future of an ancient institution in a modern age. This story is far from over. The problem, but the solution, is still being written, and with every passing day, the stakes grow higher for everyone involved. As this chapter continues, one of the most striking changes is how carefully every step is now planned. Nothing inside the palace feels casual anymore. Meetings that once relied on shared understanding now come with written notes and clear limits. This shift shows how deeply the breach of trust has affected daily life. When trust is damaged, even simple cooperation becomes harder. Prince William is learning to work within this new reality. He understands that emotion cannot guide his decisions, no matter how personal the situation feels. He is focusing on control, order, and long-term thinking. People close to him say this experience is making him stronger, but also more guarded. The open, hopeful approach he once preferred is slowly being replaced by caution. This change worries some of his friends. They fear that too much distance could isolate him. But William believes balance is possible. He wants to protect himself without closing off completely. He knows leadership requires connection, not just authority. Finding that balance is one of his greatest challenges right now. Camilla's role continues to feel uncertain. Public duties go on, but behind the scenes, her influence appears reduced. Where she once spoke freely, she now moves more carefully. The trust she relied on is no longer guaranteed. Even neutral actions are questioned. Some believe that time alone could soften tensions. Others argue that time without accountability only allows resentment to grow. History offers examples of both outcomes. The palace must decide which lesson to follow. King Charles remains central to this decision. His leadership style has always leaned toward patience and quiet repair. But the world around him has changed. Silence now invites speculation. Delay looks like weakness. He must adapt to this new environment or risk losing control of the story. Staff members are watching closely. They want guidance. They want clarity. Many have dedicated their lives to service and now feel caught in a storm they did not create. Morale matters, and uncertainty takes a toll. The monarchy's public work continues, but it feels different. Charity visits, speeches, and events carry an extra layer of meaning. The public is no longer just listening to words, but looking for signs of truth behind them. For William, every appearance is a test. He must show calm without seeming cold, strength without pride, firm values without open conflict. It is a difficult balance, but one he is determined to maintain. Catherine's presence beside him sends its own message. Her quiet support, steady tone, and focus on purpose help reinforce stability. Together, they present an image of partnership that contrasts with the tension elsewhere. Their shared vision remains clear: a monarchy that serves, listens, and adapts. This crisis has not changed that goal. If anything, it has strengthened their belief that reform is necessary. Public discussion continues to evolve. Some people who once felt distant from royal matters are now paying attention. They see this story as a reflection of larger issues about power, fairness, and honesty. In that sense, the crisis reaches far beyond the palace. Others feel tired of conflict. They long for stability and unity. They worry that too much focus on internal issues distracts from service and duty. These concerns are not ignored, but they cannot erase what has already been revealed. The palace understands that rebuilding confidence will take time. Trust grows slowly and breaks quickly. Words alone will not be enough. Actions will matter most. William is prepared for a long road. He does not expect quick solutions. He is thinking in years, not weeks. His patience is shaped by a lifetime of waiting and preparation. Camilla must also decide how to move forward. Whether through apology, change, or quiet acceptance, her choices will define her remaining years in public life. Avoiding the issue entirely may no longer be possible. King Charles faces perhaps the hardest test of his reign, not a political challenge, but a personal and institutional one. How he responds will shape how history remembers him. The monarchy stands exposed, but exposure is not always defeat. Sometimes it is the first step toward healing. That depends on honesty, courage, and willingness to change. As days turn into months,